Yeah, I like TUYU. How'd you know? Except that's actually a recreation of the song. But there's no way I did that using just free virtual instruments, right? Oh, and I also drew this custom art for the video, because let's be real, a TUYU track isn't complete without that distinct visual aesthetic. This is how I remade It's Raining After All from scratch with free software. TUYU's sound is iconic. Somehow, depressing lyrics and complex guitar riffs are put together, and out comes a really upbeat song. To pull this off, I needed two things: a precise MIDI arrangement and the right plugins. The DAW that I used for this was Cakewalk Next. It's made by the guys who made BandLab, and it's also free. For the instruments, I used Metal GTX, Keyzone Classic, and the Rickenbacker bass by Native Instruments. I know I said free, but I got this in a bundle with my MIDI controller. You could swap this out with Moto bass too. For the drums, I used a combination of acoustic drum kits with some EDM drum samples. In the actual song, the kick and snares sound more acoustic, but I really like the EDM drum used in other TUYU songs. The Native Instruments studio drummer also came with my MIDI controller, but you can just replace these sounds with the stock instruments in Cakewalk. If you're familiar with free plugins, you might be wondering why I'm not using Shreddage 3 Stratus. And that's because Metal GTX gives you access to notes beyond the 12th fret. Shreddage 3 Stratus is still a great free plugin. They'll provide you with all that you really need in most cases.
But beyond the 12th fret is where you get girls.
Yeah, I know a lot more about music than about girls. If you've never used Metal GTX, it's literally just a bunch of raw samples. No fancy scripting, no automatic string switching, and honestly, I didn't even bother with humanizing the MIDI. It still sounds great though, because Kusu's actual writing style is really fast and precise. The processing chain is the special sauce that makes this plugin sound good. I built the entire tone using Cakewalk's stock effects. First, I have the FBK compressor, which levels out the sound. The valve screamer gives the guitar that crunch rather than heavy distortion. I would turn down the drive knob, but I like this level of grittiness. The sound is then driven through a clean Fender-style amp model, which is important because it lets the chord voicings actually cut through the mix. Having too much distortion makes it hard to hear the complex chord tones. I used Ozone EQ to cut everything below 80 Hz because the EDM drums and bass are to give the track some thump. I dipped the mids to make some room for the vocals and bass, and I capped the highs at 5 kHz to keep it from sounding screechy. Getting the right tone is only half the battle though. I had to manually program every single key switch to hit the muted notes, the bends, and the slides. To do double stops, I had to slightly offset the key switches, which was kind of annoying in Cakewalk Next, because for some reason, Cakewalk Next slightly extends the notes longer than where you actually place them, which messes up the timing. It also makes arranging annoying because I'm used to dragging and dropping sliced MIDI tracks like I used to do in BandLab. But if you place a note right on the edge of two sliced MIDI tracks in Cakewalk Next, it auto-merges them.
Grrr!
I didn't really bother with automating the track to do stuff like enhance the pitch bending and adding vibrato, because my computer keeps crashing whenever I try that. The funniest part about this was that I was initially doing this solely by ear, until I swallowed my pride and used this YouTube video for reference. It was only after I finished programming the entire guitar that I found out that Songster existed. But hey, pain builds character, I guess. You could buy Songster Plus and just download the MIDI, but
Think about the $10 you saved from suffering for 10 hours.
the composition of the song made the task much more bearable though.
The chord progression is basically a Royal Road progression with a bunch of chord substitutions, and 2-5-1s at the end. And the Royal Road progression is basically just a bunch of 2-5s chained together anyway.
Once I finished the instrument tracks, it was time to do the vocals. Since an official a cappella doesn't exist, I took the original track and ran it through vocalremover.org to isolate the stem. With the vocal splice in place, the mixing phase was mostly about balancing the levels so that nothing gets completely drowned out. I pulled up Ozone's polar imager to check for mono compatibility. If the correlation slider is close to +1 throughout the song, it'll probably sound fine in mono. And when you throw all of that together, the free plugins, manual key switches, the EDM drums, and a phase-aligned mix, you get a TUYU remake that sounds like this. Reconstructing Pusu's arrangement style, node by node, taught me a lot about how this genre works. And I'm putting all of that knowledge directly into a future track that's dropping right here on this channel. If you want to hear what that sounds like, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. Drop a comment letting me know how accurate you think this remake is. Or don't. Bye.